Millions of years ago, the summer sun turned the steppe into an oven. But the land was not empty. It was moving. The steppe bison, ancestor of modern giants. They were taller, heavier, and far more aggressive. Their horns spanned 2 meters wide. Unlike the solitary mammoth, they were a legion. A river of muscle and instinct. Safety in numbers was their defense. For Neanderthals, this was a puzzle.
You cannot sneak up on 1,000 eyes.
Stealth was useless. They needed chaos. The goal, the Stampede.
Controlled panic.
Bison have poor eyesight.
But they hear everything.
One spooked animal triggers the whole herd. They smelled the predators. Now.
Go forth! Drive them down!
The herd react as one. From stillness to storm.
They were running blind. Straight into the kill box.
The trap was a funnel. Wide at the mouth, deadly at the neck.
The beaters on the ridges kept the pressure on. Panic is blind.
The dust became a weapon. Waiting in the shadows was the ambush team. They couldn't fight the whole herd. They had to pick their targets.
Hit and run.
The chaos was their cover.
One mistake meant death.
They didn't aim to kill instantly. They aimed to wound. The ambush lasted only minutes. The dust began to settle. But one bull was still standing. A cornered beast is the most dangerous. The final stand. Agility was their only shield. The bull falls, heavy thud. The canyon narrowed to a choke point. It became a meat grinder. The hunters struck from the ledges. They needed precision in the chaos.
The alpha bull was trapped. There was nowhere to run.
He braced the spear against the rock. The bull's own weight killed it. The pileup began. The hunters waited for the dust to settle. Silence returned slowly.
5 giants lay dead.
But the work was just starting. The skin was the real prize. Bison sinew made the strongest cordage. The hunter checked his wounds. Survival leaves scars. Honored the beast. The herd would return next year. But a new challenge was waiting.
Subscribe to continue the hunt. The bison was more than meat. It was a hardware store.
Their population was infinite. They shaped the landscape. Neanderthals followed the herds like shadows. Highlight the Stampede. Highlight the leap.
Highlight the wall of dust.
Highlight the horns.
Highlight victory!
Next episode, the armored tank.
A prehistoric tank. You use its own anger against it. Join us for the next hunt. The Woolly Rhino, the tank of the Ice Age.
It was smaller than a mammoth, but harder to kill.
Its horn was a tool, not just a weapon.
Flat, heavy, indestructible. It feared nothing.
0 to 30 in seconds.
But it had a weakness. To hunt it, you had to become a ghost. And you had to smell like nothing.
Wind direction was life or death.
They approached from the blind spot.
Close enough to touch.
If it turned, they died.
Their spears were different for this hunt.
They targeted the belly.
The moment of truth.
Attack!
The beast reacted instantly.
The silent forest became a battlefield. You don't just stab a tank and walk away.
It couldn't see him, but it could hear him.
horn is a snowplow turned into a guillotine. Come on then! Ah! Ah! Fight me!
Distraction was their only defense.
They had to keep it spinning.
But the snow slowed them down.
The rhino was built for this. It chose a target. They just had to wait.
Cold was their ally. The tank was running out of fuel.
He stumbles. Throw! Watch the horn!
The armor had been breached.
They needed the horn.
But the Neanderthals didn't share.
The cave bear. The true king of the dark.
They had to choose, fight or flee.
They chose life. The rhino fed the bear. The bear spared the men. Survival is knowing when to stop.
Why was it so hard to kill? It was nature's chainmail.
The horn was not bone.
It was a specialized snow shovel.
Its vision was its fatal flaw. But its nose with a radar. Neanderthals hacked this system. They were chemical engineers.
The risk was calculated.
They lived in a world of giants.
This rhino was the last of its kind.
The meat was tough, but rich. They used the fat for lamps. The kill was shared with the clan.
Every hunt was a lesson.
They survived because they adapted.
The rhino was a formidable enemy. But the most dangerous animal was yet to come. The Ice Age was ending. And the apex hunters would become the hunted. But for now, they were kings.
The cave lion awaits.
One rhino meant survival for a month. Nothing was wasted. Highlight the invisible approach.
Highlight the zero turn. Highlight the armor. Highlight the standoff.
The Woolly Rhino is gone.
But the danger it represented
Lives on. But there was one beast they didn't hunt. One beast that hunted the EM. The cave lion. No spear can stop a ghost.
And the Bison Stampede here.
Millions of years ago, the cold was a physical enemy.
To stop moving was to die.
They needed to... immediately.
Then, they saw it.
Wind stops abruptly as we enter the cave mouth.
But the cave was not empty.
The cave bear.
Ursus spelaeus, 30% larger than a grizzly.
It was hibernating. This was not a hunt.
They prepared for close quarters combat.
Fire was their shield. The cave was a maze.
The air grew warm and stale. They found the chamber.
A sleeping giant. The plan: one synchronized strike.
Deep hibernation slows the heart.
But it doesn't stop the rage. Strike! It stood up! A wall of fur and muscle.
There was no way out. It wasn't slow.
It was lightning. Shadows became monsters.
The cave was too small.
They used fire as a weapon.
The smell of burnt hair filled the cave. It dropped to all fours. A charge in the dark. Dodge or die. They surrounded it again. No room for fear.
It was an endurance test.
The bear targeted the leader. Hold! The final charge. Cows! They needed it to pierce the heart. The roar turned into a gurgle. The giant fell.
They checked the leader.
The cave was theirs.
The prize was not just meat.
It was warmth.
They built the first altars.
This was the cult of the cave bear. In their minds, the bear still lived.
They survived the long winter.
Spring brought new life.
And new scars.
They were the masters of their world.
They conquered the mammoth.
They outsmarted the bison.
They pierced the rhino. And they claimed the cave.
But their reign was fragile.
A new hunter was coming.
Homo sapiens. They didn't just fight. That's right.
But they are not gone.
Their DNA lives in us. They were the age of the apex hunters.
And their story is our story.
But the greatest enemy wasn't the bear. It was the warmth. The giants they hunted began to vanish.
Neanderthals were built for the cold.
They retreated to the edge of the world.
The last fire burned out 40,000 years ago.
This was the age of the apex hunters.
Subscribe to help us recreate history.